Let's face it, politics is an absolute joke. I'm Matt Richardson, and I've always suspected that literally anyone could do a better job of running the country than the clowns in Westminster. So I decided to put it to the test. Each week I sit down with a special guest who's suddenly and unexpectedly been elected Prime Minister and advise them on 3 policies they think will transform the country. Welcome to I Am Prime Minister. It is an absolute honour to introduce our brand new Prime Minister. Before running for office, he was best known as a comedian, writer, director and podcaster, particularly for his work hosting the award-winning Football Ramble podcast. He has left all of that behind to focus on running the country. Prime Minister Jim Campbell, welcome to the show and congratulations on your recent victory.
Hello, Matt, and hello... Well, I was going to say subjects, but I suppose it's just citizens, isn't it?
Citizens, yeah, you are voted in. It's not quite subjects.
Yeah, I've got drunk with power really quickly there.
You really have, yeah. You know, it happens a lot with comedians, I think. This is actually what we want. All politicians want to be comedians, and all comedians just want to be Prime Minister.
Yeah, and I think in truth, everybody just wants to be in a band, because I think that's the best
thing. Yeah, I mean, look, rock stars are the way we all want to be. I'm very happy for you. Is this something you've always wanted to do, politics?
No, actually, it's been sprung upon me as the premise for a podcast.
Okay,
which is I don't know if many prime ministers have gone into office in such a way, but you know the way the world is going, who knows? It might become more popular.
We're not that far away from a podcast host president, I don't think.
No, I mean, God, yeah, we're really not, are we?
Do you know the guy who is now the deputy director of the FBI? Trump likes his podcast. That's how he got the job.
Yeah, and he's going to wreak havoc in there, isn't he? So we are terrifyingly close to this probably coming this way.
I'm very happy you're Prime Minister. I think you're going to be a great Premier. We're going to just go through some policies. I, as your Chief Advisor, your top spad, just want to help you get these things off the ground and deliver them to the public. So we're going to go for your first policy, turning the internet off on Sundays. Can you talk me through this, please?
Yes. So I think we could all do with a digital detox fairly regularly. I think a good way to do that would be to sort of restore the day of rest. It'd be the day of rest mode, I suppose you would call it. I just find my phone exhausting, as I'm sure everybody does, and I could just put it down more often and not look at it. But I don't do that, and I'm simply not going to do that, am I? And I think part of why it's so weird for us and so bad for our brains is that I imbibe the opinions of strangers and the thoughts of strangers so consistently throughout my day, just in the comment sections of posts I like or something I'll see on Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter now, but equivalents of it. You see so much just kind of noise that comes from the brains of strangers. And if you were to live your life where, say, every 5 or 10 minutes someone arrived and they handed you a piece of paper that had a stranger's opinion about, let's say, the White Lotus on it, it would be ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous way to live your life. But that is kind of what we do to ourselves now, isn't it? We've created this other dimension full of the opinions of strangers that you care nothing about. In some cases, they're absolutely deranged. If you agree with them, it's essentially you're learning nothing from it anyway. It's just a ridiculous way for us to live our lives. So just to have a break from that on Sundays would be great. And I would sort of there's a bit more to this policy as well.
Okay, interesting.
I would change it so that we could only have 4 channels as well. And we're going 1980s Sunday. You can still have, like, certain things can still stream because not everybody has analog TV anymore, but you can only get 4 channels. You can still use your phone, but you just can't use the internet on it. And a lot of people might be thinking, oh, he's one of those good old days guys, isn't he? He's going to be saying, oh, it's better in the good old days and we should return back to that. It wasn't. It was boring. It was so boring, wasn't it? Do you remember a Sunday in particular in the 90s and the 80s? I'm not sure if you were even born in the 80s, Matt.
I was not, no.
Congratulations. But it was so dull. Obviously, you had the looming threat of school the next day, which meant you couldn't sort of relax. And it was just, I think we would appreciate, actually, the variety that we kind of have just in our lives. There's so much to be said for not having the internet. If you got a little rash on Sunday, rather than Google it and conclude that you've got leprosy, you probably just wouldn't worry about it, would you? You just leave it. You think, I'll think about that tomorrow.
Also,
sleep on it.
I do think with this as well is we aren't like, look, I love this. I think this is a great idea. It is slightly totalitarian. The internet shutdown thing is, I've had a little research, and it mostly happens in dictatorships.
Yeah.
There's been quite a lot of internet shutdowns. Myanmar are the worst offender, 85 shutdowns in 2024. We're looking at 52. That's not that bad.
Yeah.
But I do think we need to learn how to be bored.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do anything. I can't even use the loo anymore without my phone.
Same, right? I mean, it's mad. Like, although, I mean, it's very easy to play Scrabble on the toilet now. In the 90s, if you wanted to do that, that was very unwieldy. So that's
Look,
progress.
you can
in a
still
way.
play Scrabble on the toilet on a Sunday, but you have to take the board in.
You got to put the work in.
Yeah. And your mate and you have to shit together. I'm up for this. If you can do it in person and be happy, you can still do it on your phone. That's how it should be.
Indeed. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe that would be another thing, wouldn't it? That you would probably be a little bit more social, and you'd be certainly
100%.
more present in the socialising that you did on this kind of internet-free Sunday. It'd be great. Like, people are mad. Like, I saw a comment a little while ago. That actually inspired this policy.
Yeah.
Because it just made me want to throw my phone across the room. It was a post on Instagram. It was about Keir Starmer saying he's going to do more to combat extremist, misogynistic loners, right? And that's obviously something that's very important given the rise of kind of organised misogyny.
Andrew Tate, et al.
All those types of people and the ideologies behind it. One of the comments said, "What next with this government and stripping rights of the people? What next? Prison if you speak out against the government? Welcome to China too." And so I'm reading that and I'm thinking, does this guy think that Keir Starmer wants to ban people from being alone? Because that's how that reads to me. It's like, oh God, why is this in my mind? Why have I chosen to be thinking about this sort of nonsense? It feels like it lowers your IQ.
I always think with this, I heard a really good thing on a podcast the other day that basically what would become incels now in society, whereas they used to be they'd just join the clergy. And then it wouldn't really be a problem. They weren't having sex. You give them like a bit of power and they'd be absolutely fine. I really like this. I try and have Sundays as like a day to do stuff. So I think that's what you're sort of going back to. Getting rid of the religion, but having Sundays as a sacred day for people to enjoy.
And you could be religious if you want, you know.
It's fine, as long as you're not doing it online.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do everything you do online as long as you do it in person. Do you have a massive issue with your phone then? Is that what this has come from?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm probably about average in terms of my phone use, I would think.
Yeah.
But that may also be that I just assume that everybody is sort of connected to it. So I don't work a 9 to 5. I work strange hours, as I assume you do as well. So for people that don't have a sort of more traditional day where your phone isn't, where you don't have a period where you can't pick up your phone whenever you want, I just find I'm just always looking at it. It's just sort of the equivalent of walking into a room and forgetting why you went there. You know, it's like why am I looking at my phone? Why did I even pick that up?
Oh my God, absolutely.
Sometimes I'll shut down an app and then immediately open it up again and not have really consciously chosen to do any of those actions. And yeah, it's not just the phone as well. Is it just like having a break from screens is really, really nice.
Yeah, I think that's the big important thing here. It's not just phones we're going for. We are going sweeping changes to all screen use.
Yeah, if you want to listen to music, you have to own it. You have to own a copy of it.
Oh, I like that a lot because it will encourage you to, if you're desperate and love something, you will actually buy music again.
Exactly.
This could be massive for the economy. People will go out, they'll do stuff. No online shopping you can own. How about this as well? Because obviously Sunday trading hours, we only have good trading hours on Sundays.
When you say good trading hours, what do you mean?
Like normal, 8 till 7 or whatever. Like
sure.
Not Sunday trading. So if you want to go and buy things on a Sunday, there's loads of opportunity to just really encourage local business.
Be nice, wouldn't it? Be nice.
It'd be really nice. I think the internet and phones are basically everything that we've done wrong in the world. This is good.
Dogs don't seem to like phones, do they? If you get a phone out.
I've got a friend whose dog, he walks past our house and we stop and have a chat. If he brings out his phone, the dog starts barking at him.
They know, right? It's like in a horror movie.
Yeah.
They know.
Do we start as a Sunday and then expand?
Obviously, there are a lot of good things about the internet, so getting rid of it altogether would be...
What would you say is a good thing then?
This podcast.
Oh,
my
that's a
podcast.
very good...
There are good things about the negative things we've spoken about. That's sort of
Totally.
the way that people can connect. But I need a little break, and I'm not going to give it to myself. So I might have to enforce that on myself and therefore everyone. In my
No.
position.
I think everyone will hate it to begin with, and then everyone will start to look forward to a Sunday. The only thing I do worry about when we're implementing this policy is what happens at midnight. Like, what chaos will we unleash onto the world?
You're right. It could be like Gremlins, couldn't it?
I say what chaos. How are we going to reinforce the porn sites? Because that's what's going to happen, isn't it? Every Monday morning at 00:01,
The grid
porn.
will crash.
The grid will crash.
Maybe
as you
it
just
needs
hear
to
a little
be-
drum beat come out of every house.
Sure,
From
yeah.
Pornhub, not because they're making a drum beat.
Yeah, maybe we have to make it so that the internet doesn't come on until like 6 a.m. the next day.
Or we stagger it back on, like you can't get all the internet straight away, otherwise people will go mad.
Yeah.
I think this will make society a better place. I think it will make us closer. I think it will encourage people to live in their communities a bit more. Or at the very least, encourage people to just stare at the walls again. I used to be able to just sit in a room.
I miss watching the world go by on a train.
Oh,
I miss looking out the window on a train. And again, I could just do it, but I'm not gonna.
I was on a flight recently, and this was like maybe a 5-hour flight. And there was a woman next to me, a lovely old lady, and she just did the flight.
The raw dogging thing.
But she wasn't raw dogging it because she just
Didn't
was
know what that
living.
is.
No, she just lived her life. Like she was just sat there happily, kind of like taking in everything that was going on. Had a little
Thinking,
snooze.
right?
Just
It's like we've forgotten how to think.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, look, my thinking's so out of control. They're giving me pills for it, but my phone use is wild. I think we definitely need to encourage boredom as a government. I think boredom is something we're going to try and encourage a little bit more.
I thought Keir Starmer was going to do that and things might calm down, but everyone's as angry as they've ever been, aren't they?
Have you ever tracked your screen time to have a look?
Oh, I get a little update from my phone every Monday morning. I think it's about 2 hours 45 minutes a day, which is
That's really good.
Is it?
My daily average is 5 hours and 19 minutes.
Blimey! Wow.
Is that a lot?
It feels like a lot of time, doesn't it? Especially given that you're not awake for the entire 24.
Yeah, it is bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. I reckon we should move on to our next policy, which is a referendum on the monarchy. Now, this feels like something that might happen sooner rather than later, so I'm excited to see your justification. Why do we need a referendum on the monarchy?
Well, we've not had a referendum for a while. It seems like we have, but it's nearly 10 years ago now, the last time we had one. Referendums, as I remember them, are a universally popular and brilliant way to make big decisions like this. I mean, obviously, I could have been drunker with power, and I could have gone abolish the monarchy.
Yeah. Okay, that is fair enough.
I would vote. I would vote to get rid of the monarchy in this referendum. But I do recognise that a lot of people feel very strongly and very passionately about them, and I think a referendum would give us an opportunity as a nation to examine the pros and cons of what would happen next. And what I actually really want to focus on now, though, is just, could you imagine the PR rounds if the monarchy had to fight for their own existence by going on like Saturday Kitchen,
Graham Norton,
and convincing us that
Oh,
actually,
my
I do
God.
want to pay for these guys.
And
I do
now
wanna
on
pay for this guy
Fern
to
Cotton's
just...
happy place.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it would be chaos. It would be absolutely
Get about
delicious.
there working for it.
Yeah, just months of it as well, months of it. And it wouldn't just be telly, would it? It'd
No, it'd be
like,
everything.
You know, Prince William on True Geordie, just like absolutely baffled as to what's going on and who this man is and why he's there. Then he's got to go and play football with the sidemen. and be really charming the whole time. They would crumble. They would crumble. There's barely any of them left. King Charles is just an amazing curmudgeon. Obviously, Andrew's not an option for obvious reasons. Harry's estranged.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that Edward exists, and he was pretty much an embarrassment when they did. Anne's quite fun, to be fair.
Look, the thing is, I think maybe we just go, if there's a referendum on the monarchy, we still have a head of state, but we get to vote on which one.
Yes.
In like a Eurovision X Factor-esque way, they all do a load of media rounds, and then we decide the one that stays. I think Anne would win.
Yeah, I think Anne would romp home, like almost quite literally on a horse, as she spent a lot of her life. She's like genuinely won things in equestrianism as well. She's actually quite impressive.
She's the only royal I definitely know has done a rectal exam of an animal. Like she's the only one I go, she'll roll her sleeves up and get dirty.
Yeah,
the rest of them are real. Yeah, Anne has not even thought twice about drowning a cat that had a gammy leg.
Just to see what happens. Yeah, and
she just gets on with it.
Totally. And, I mean, she might not be the only royal to have done it, but she'll be the only royal to have done it for a practical reason.
So if we were going to have a referendum, if we had it tomorrow, how do you think it's going to go?
I think it would be really, really tight.
Do you?
I think they might edge it, you know. I think because when push comes to shove, we are a patriotic people. We are a small c conservative nation, sadly. But that tends to be, I think, how people vote, and I think the PR campaign, while funny, might ultimately fall short. Now, I'm of the opinion that the reason that we would have a referendum like this is that essentially it would examine what they actually are to us. Personally, I think having a sort of a medieval institution paid for by the public in 2025 is essentially, it's just irrelevant to the modern world, and I find it frustrating. The arguments that they bring in an absolute fortune through tourism don't really stack up when you look at it. If you look at the most visited tourist sites in the UK, there are some royal ones in there, but they're not the top ones. And
I live Bicester Village is the one down from Buckingham Palace. It's the second most visited place in the country after Buckingham Palace.
Is it really the second?
Bicester Village is the second most visited tourist attraction in the country after Buckingham Palace. So all that tells us is Buckingham Palace could just be a Harrods.
So the list I've got, it's just the list on Wikipedia, but the first is the British Museum, then there's the Natural History Museum, Windsor Great Park is after that. You've got the Tate Modern, the South Bank Centre, that makes up the top five. So it's very interesting to me. This idea is always wheeled out, isn't it? Are they bringing in a fortune through tourism? But I think the people who say that, they're just parroting it. They've not done the research on that. And this is what I think would have to happen in a referendum. You'd have research commissioned into these sort of things and get to the bottom of the truth of that. We'd also have to examine their finances truly as well. There was a documentary a little while ago. It was called something like The King, the Prince and Their Secret Millions. And they essentially, they rent kind of areas to the NHS, and if the army want to train on their lands, they rent it to them. It's like it's the NHS and the army, and it would be very interesting to me to see how very patriotic people respond to that, because that surely goes against.
They did, even in that they have they've got thousands of houses they rent out, don't they? Yeah. And they're all in horrible condition.
It's an absolute scandal, and they seem to be untouchable in terms of us getting a proper look at these things, because they just go no, and they make money from these things, and they don't even pay tax on it. Now, I know that King Charles and Prince William voluntarily pay income tax, but that's just optics, isn't it?
And they didn't pay any inheritance tax, did they, on their billions?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
ridiculous.
I do understand that if money is a picture of your nan, you probably feel like you have a right to it. You know, you probably have quite a different relationship with it than you and I do.
Well, that money's mine. Why? Well, is your family on it?
Come on. Yeah. Look,
I just want to talk about, so this is something that's happened quite a few times fairly recently. Nepal got rid of their king and became a republic in 2008. The Barbados got rid of Queen Elizabeth in 2021. They only ever had one monarch because they took her on in 1966 in the Commonwealth. Loads of other Commonwealth countries want to do this. We should just all do it together. So they've got nothing. What I want to ask, how do we go about this? So the referendum says we're going to be a republic. What happens next? Are they straight out on the streets?
No, I think I'd be very fair to them. Because it would be an interesting thing. You have an elected head of state, don't you? We might have a president, which sounds absolutely mad. But then having a king is also
absolutely mad.
We're so used to the idea of a queen that you get used to it. But the word itself, king, seems very odd. So I would let them have a certain amount of money per year, because obviously it's ridiculous to then just go, all right, you're just Charles Windsor now, you go get down the job centre.
Or I don't know, because then we do have a real point where you go, King Charles would do I'm a Celeb.
Oh, God. And he'd be so grumpy.
He'd be awful on
grumpy.
it. And he'd get voted for everything. So that's what, if we don't give them any money and they have to go out and fend for themselves, we do have a very exciting opportunity on our hands to watch Camilla do Strictly.
Oh, God, it'd be incredible, wouldn't it? Absolutely incredible.
Beatrice and Eugenie on celebrity coach trip. First time they've ever been on a bus.
Yeah, Harry and Meghan just laughing at the amount of their Netflix deal. You ain't getting this. We have fucked this for you. We have given them no value. You're getting nothing.
We're going to have a look at your final policy we're going to introduce at the beginning of your premiership now. And this is investment into finding a cure for the hangover.
I'm 42 now.
You look good for 42, may I say.
Thanks, mate. That is largely because I've never done a day's work in my life. I think we should put real money into this, because I think it might actually be a money spinner for the country. Because if you think of all the productivity we lose to hungover people, that has to have an effect on just general sort of GDP and efficiency. And I am not talking about those nights where you've maybe had 3 drinks and you wake up and you're like, oh God, I'm surprised about how bad I feel here. I feel a bit of a headache, a little bit groggy. I'm talking about the ones where, like, you've let your mum down. By drinking that much. You might get them once a year as you get older, but you're just like, I am a wretch.
Where you actually impose a self-ban on the internet on a Sunday because you're embarrassed to talk to anyone.
Yeah, you can't even get out of bed. Exactly, and that shame as well. If we could cure the hangover, the fear would be interesting, because you would still have the shame of anything you did.
Just without the physical attributes.
Yeah, you wouldn't lose the consequences of it. I think that hangovers are useful to our bodies, as they tell us not to do that all the time. And I suppose it could lead to a sort of public health crisis. But then I guess with the extra money we would make from the increased productivity of the nation, you kind of put that into health programs, and you look at addiction issues and you treat them as a health issue rather than as a criminal issue, as they are with drugs. But that was worked very successfully in Portugal. I'm sick of it. I don't ever want to feel like that, and I also don't want to stop having one more drink when I'm having a good time. So we're going to have to figure this out, and I've got an idea to raise the money as well.
Yeah, okay.
So Trident is obviously in the news quite a lot, the UK's nuclear defence system.
Yeah.
We need a nuclear deterrent, and I agree that we actually do need that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lie. I'm going to lie and say we've updated our nuclear weapons at the cost of whatever.
Okay.
If it comes to it, I'll just use the old ones, which I'm pretty sure will still explode.
I think it's a lie anyway. So they did a test on Trident. They did like 2 or 3 tests recently, and they all failed. So I think we just say we have one.
As in the bombs?
Well, no, but like launching them, but we can't even launch them. Cool. Like off the submarines, like they weren't working because they don't do it that often. And they were like, oh yeah, we can't get them to go.
Right, well, it sounds like they're doing this anyway.
Yeah.
So I continued the cover up. I was like, yeah, we've spent all this on nuclear weapons, and then secretly I'll funnel that money into curing the hangover.
Lovely. Now, I big fan of this. I have horrible hangovers. The problem for me is not the hangover; it's the general malaise it brings to my life for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, because actually, even when the hangover's finished, you might just be really sad.
Yeah.
The next Thursday and not really know why.
Yeah. It's a bit of an issue. We do lose. It's estimated we lose 1.2 to 1.4 billion pounds a year to hangovers at work, and most people's productivity drops by 24%.
How on earth have they come to those numbers?
I don't know, because
24%.
also, who's telling them the truth? We're like, are you hungover at work? Yeah, I'm absolutely rough as arseholes, mate.
I remember being younger and just being so naive about that. If I was ever doing a temp job or I worked at ITV for a bit in a sort of desk job, and I would just be really honest about it. I was like, it's so stupid looking back at it. I was like, yeah, drinking's a part of life, right? We all do it. The pubs are open on weeknights. I'm like, that probably wasn't a great idea, actually.
But at the time, you're saying you're hungover because like the hangover is still perfectly manageable at 24.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm hungover. I feel a bit groggy. Like, I'm a bit like clammy. That's about it. I'll have a pot noodle for lunch and I'll be fine.
Yes, absolutely. The worst thing about it is that I still haven't had my worst hangover. Neither of you. Nobody has, because they get worse as we get older.
I don't know. I've had to call an ambulance hungover before.
Oh, really? An ambulance?
Yeah.
Was it justified, or did you feel silly afterwards? What happened?
No, I felt silly afterwards. I actually called 111, and they were like, they're like, have you been drinking recently? How I felt? And I was like, yeah, last night. And they're like, yeah, I think you probably don't need to do this. They looked annoyed. And
so hang on, but what were your symptoms? You just felt hungover?
I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to have a heart attack and die. I couldn't feel my face and like my feet, and I thought I was dying, and I was hungover.
I mean, to be fair, that is quite scary.
My problem now with hangovers is that my kidneys hurt.
Yes. Oh my God, you can feel your individual organs in a way that
working
you simply can't when
through,
you're younger.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a bad back. Oh no, I've drunk for 2 days on the bounce.
Yeah. Oh, spleen's playing up. Not sure where it is. Somehow I know it's the spleen.
Do you worry this would make people drink more? Do you think it would turn us into a feral society if there were no consequences?
Well, this is why I mentioned earlier the fear, because I think there would still be consequences, and I think quite quickly, actually, people might go, I was an absolute dickhead last night, and I know that because I can remember it really clearly, and that was really embarrassing. I think ultimately, yes, there would be an increase in drinking from people, which is again why I mentioned putting more money into sort of public health programs.
Would we potentially make this quite an expensive thing to get hold of then, just so it didn't encourage people to drink to excess constantly?
I suppose I don't know if it would actually. I suppose you could tax it a bit more, couldn't you? Maybe, yeah.
It's something. It's like it's £200 to buy this hangover pill, so people still can have a hangover, because otherwise, and then just go, I'll have it when I go to a wedding.
Yeah. Actually, maybe that's it. Maybe
just
that's it.
Just a suggestion. Just because if you could if it's like you can buy it 16p, I think we'd all just be drunk all the time, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think the solutions you see to it at the moment are all things like IV drips and stuff, and
they're all absolute bullshit, by the way.
Yeah, I bet they are. What I would do is I would train a new type of key worker who would be both a therapist and a personal trainer. And we would sort of flood the working market with these people. So you just sort of do an all-in-one MOT, and hopefully that would encourage people to live better.
I'm going to stop you there. Are we turning therapists into personal trainers, or personal trainers into therapists? Because I have a preference.
You got to qualify as both, right?
Do I want a man that talks about rise and grind on Instagram helping me with therapy?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You know what I mean? I don't need Brad talking me through my issues.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell you supplements on the side. No, thank you, absolutely not.
Trying to sell me a course on Bitcoin.
That is the major issue with this, isn't it? It would encourage people to into an unhealthy lifestyle. So I guess all you could really do to combat that, so that I get to not have a hangover. I'd be a very selfish Prime Minister, I've learned.
Do you have a hangover cure that you try?
I don't, although actually Grace, my girlfriend, recommended one recently.
Okay.
And it seemed to work for her, so I'm going to try this next time. She found herself craving vegetable stock, so she made herself a broth of vegetable stock. I think it's full of electrolytes or whatnot. Drank it and she felt a lot better. So maybe
just vegetable stock.
Just vegetable stock in like a vegetable broth. And apparently it did the trick. So it's grim, but it's better than being hungover, isn't it? So I think I'm going to try that next time. Generally, it's
Vegetable
just water
stock
for me.
I think this is a really good idea. I think it will help the country, which is what we want. I think everyone in the country wants this. You know, people are trying to drink less. Maybe we can say you can drink more, but it's fine. And I think thank you very much, Prime Minister, for being so benevolent. This feels like it's going to be a very popular premiership, and I'm very excited to see how people react to this. If you want to hear more from our Prime Minister, Jim Campbell, you can listen to the Football Ramble pretty much every day. Prime Minister, thank you so much. We'll start implementing those policies.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to I Am Prime Minister, hosted by me, Matt Richardson, and produced by Matt Needer. If you've enjoyed the show, forward it to a friend, leave us a 5-star rating or review, or write to your MP. I Am Prime Minister is a Wild Ambitions production.